Hey, we're live. Welcome, fellow sewing enthusiasts. We're happy to have you back this week to another Inspired by Free Spirit Fabrics. Thank you for joining us. We're always happy to have everyone come in. Every other week we've been on this year. We're so happy to have you back. I am Sharon Thornton. I am here this week with June Tailor's Jill Rep. She'll be here showing us a bunch of projects that her and her team worked on to show us what they've created with Free Spirit Fabrics. If you're interested in seeing anything or knowing any more about Free Spirit Fabrics, please go to freespiritfabrics.com and you can see anything, any of our collections that are coming out, coming soon, already been delivered. You can see projects and you can see programs that we have going on at our website. And any questions that you may have about June Tailor, you can go to junetailor.com and you can see their projects and all of the products that they have on their website as well. We are coming to you live today on our Facebook page, and just like to let you know that after this, we will be posting this again and permanently to our Facebook page, also to our Instagram and our YouTube page. And June Tailor will be doing the same on their social media platforms. So if you've missed anything, you want to re-watch anything along the way, please go back and view it all again. Ask some questions along the way. We will do our best to answer your questions. I know that Jill will be answering a lot of questions as she's presenting today's program. And anything that she hasn't answered, we will try to ask the questions. Free Spirit will be on. We will be answering any questions about the fabrics or anything else that we can while we're on. Nancy, Jewel, and Lindsay will be on doing that. And, June Tailor, Jill, I'm assuming that afterwards, I know I didn't ask you this before we got on, that somebody from your team will either answer while we're on or after we get off and answer any questions that maybe we didn't answer. So please let us, ask us anything you'd like. I would like to say that I am coming to you today from Charlotte, North Carolina. It is 79 degrees here today, so it's actually pretty warm. And I know that Jill is coming to us from Wisconsin. And Jill, I looked up that, is it true that it's 55 degrees there?
It is true, and it's rainy, so you're the winner.
Well, then I'm glad to be here because it's a little warmer. So tell us where you're all from, because we love to know where you're from. And just, say hello. I'm from wherever state or country that you're from. We know that you tune in from all over the country and the world, and we love to know where you're coming in from. The quilt behind me is a Tim Holtz quilt. It is called Curious by Nature, and it is approximately 56 by 60 inches in size, and it is featuring Tim Holtz Abandoned 2 fabrics, which will be shipping to stores, local quilt shops soon. I believe early May or mid-May it will be shipping. And it is primarily made from Abandoned 2, and there's a little bit of Abandoned 1 in it as well. Beautiful collection. Jill's going to be featuring it as well. And they're going to be showing us many different projects, and we'll talk about them as she pulls them up and shows us. So without further ado, I think I've covered all the ground rules, Jill. I am going to take myself off of Spotlight Video. So hold on one second. I'm going to make sure I do this properly. And then I am going to put Jill onto Spotlight Video. Let me see. Okay, Jill, I think that you're on live now. So welcome. We are so very happy to have you back with us again. We had you last in February, and here we are early April, and you and your team have made, which I haven't seen yet, so it's a surprise to me as well, other than that beautiful quilt behind you, and that bag that I see of some Tula Pink fabric. I haven't seen any of the projects, so we're very excited to have you. Thank you for coming, and take us away.
Thank you so much. You talked a little bit about the weather. On Easter Sunday, we had almost 80 degrees here. Ooh. And we might have even had better weather than you in North Carolina.
You may have.
True to nature, it's back to Wisconsin, cold and rainy and yucky, but fortunately spring is here, and we're going to brighten it up with some gorgeous fabrics today, because I have to tell you, when your box arrives at June Tailor, it's like Christmas. We all run to see the Free Spirit fabrics, And then it begins, the process begins. What are we going to do with this? And it's a blast. We have so much fun, and we can't wait to show you what we're going to make today. We're going to do a little preview for you of the projects, and then we're going to go back into a little bit more detail. But we're going to start out today with, I have a little helper here today named Tessa. This is our Venice table runner and placemat. She's showing you the placemat right now. And the Venice design uses all 2.5-inch strips of fabric. It even has a pocket here for your silverware or your napkins. When we saw that Tim Holtz line, we said, we've got to use it for this because it is absolutely perfect. It has a lot of the tones in that we see in the kitchens today. And I think what's more important is for something in the kitchen, it's nice to have the coordinating done for you. And with his fabrics, it's like, looks one way on one side of the fabric and one way on the other side of the fabric. And it's just so interesting. It makes such a great project. So this is the Venice placemat, and it will give you a step-by-step on how to make that. We also have a brand new ruler. This is our 60th anniversary Shape Cut Supreme. For those of you who have used our Shape Cut ruler before, I want to tell you that the ruler itself, that the line is 24 years old. Slotted rulers were something that we brought to market many years ago. They're quick and easy to cut strips, squares, triangles, diamonds, hexagons, bias, and fringe. This ruler is a little different though. This one has highlights every 2.5 inches. So if you're just using strips, 2.5-inch strips, which are so common, you don't even have to look at all those teardrop openings. You can just know that you're cutting here, 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 here. Also great for 5-inch charm squares or 10-inch layer cakes. So Tessa's going to give us a little demo in a minute on how that works. We are ready to ship. We haven't even shipped it yet. So again, we get to see it here first, which is wonderful. What we're all really excited about here at June Tailor is our new little lunch totes. These things are absolutely adorable. They hold at least enough lunch for one, maybe two. Let's actually have Tessa open it up and show you what we have in there just to give you the idea of the size. Our lunch totes are made, it's going to be sew on the line, so really easy, and they are made with insulated batting, so they'll keep things cold or hot. And
I love this.
We just put something in here just to kind of give you an idea how much space is really in this tote.
That's big.
And then everything, we'll show you when we get down to the detail. Everything you need comes with it, including a pre-sewn zippity-doo-dah zipper. And there's even a little piece of plastic in the base. Let's see if we can pull that out. That can be, it comes with a little piece of plastic like this to stabilize it, but you can even cover that with fabric. So it's kind of like a really nice lined bag. So we'll show you some great examples of our new lunch totes. And then of course, I don't know, for those of you who have done Quilt As You Go before, we also have a really cute line of mug mats, but we thought these little mug mats were also the perfect size to be like a little placemat for your lunch tote or a little snack mat. So if you're using kids prints, this would be something fun to go with it. So we'll show you that in a little bit too.
I love that. That's great.
The fabric just kept coming and we kept creating. And this one, I will tell you, everybody here fought over this. We absolutely love this echinacea fabric. Isn't that not gorgeous? Yes. This is a large capacity tote, and this tote comes with a zippity-doo-dah zipper. The design that we're using here today has the pocket, so you could put a grocery list in here or a water bottle. But just to show you what we've got in here, there are 3 beach towels, a sand pail, flip-flops, a book. So really, this holds a lot. And we couldn't cut this fabric. It was so gorgeous. We had to just use it for the whole tote. We have another one done with the grays and the reds that we're going to show you toward the end. Super easy project to make. And it doesn't get any better than that fabric. It was really quite pretty.
I know. That echinacea, that's Anna Maria Horner's fabric, and that is very, very popular. And you ladies did a beautiful job on that. I love it.
We love it too. And then last but not least, I have to tell you a funny story. We have a new employee who started with us this week. Her name is Joni. And she said to me, you know, my mom and I have all these quilt tops and we love making them, but sometimes we don't finish them. And it just resonated with me because our Quilt As You Go, Sew by Number program, we actually asked Joni to make this quilt for us. And her observation was there's no UFOs. You have to, when you sew the top together, you sew through the back. So there's no unfinished projects. You're doing the whole thing at one time. So let's take a look at this gorgeous, gorgeous quilt. If you are afraid to use a big print, well, don't be, because look at how fantastic this looks. And beautiful. What we love about it is that, you know, the big print it's so kind of contemporary, but it goes so well with that smaller print. Mm-hmm. This is a quilt that is about 40 by 50 when it's done. It is 22 seams.
Oh, that's
you use, you know, baby fabric. Perfect baby quilt size. It's a perfect lap quilt size. So I don't know, we just thought it was so gorgeous out of these fabrics, but we'll show you a couple of other options as well on how to really work with this design. Yeah. So can we get started? All right, let's get started. Let's first of all, I just wanted to hold these up. Okay, we're down on the table now, even easier. So this is what some of the fabrics were that we received. We actually received several more, but we had to cut them up for the projects. But I just wanted to chat for 1 minute about how versatile is a fabric when it looks one way on one end of the fabric. But look at this, completely different on the other side. So if you are a quilter and you have a hard time putting fabrics together for a project, it's done for you using his fabrics. They're just so incredibly gorgeous. And, you know, this one makes a great backing. We're going to show you that we use this on the back of the table runner. It's just going to take your breath away. It makes things reversible because his fabrics are just so beautiful. So when we start our Quilt As You Go projects, and while this is great fabric to begin with, what we always like to do is to starch our fabrics before we cut them. Because if we add some starch before we cut, it really makes the cutting a lot easier. It makes pressing easier. Our seams are crisper. As it glides through the machine, it's so much easier to sew. And there's a little less shrinkage. So if you starch the fabrics before you start our projects, you don't have to worry about the shrinking after you're done. Starch Savvy is clear. It's man-made. There's no potato. There's no starch in it. With every application, it will get a little bit stiffer. The only real challenge is you have to let it soak in for a few seconds. I know we all want to spray starch and then quickly iron it, but just give it a second to soak in and then press it and you'll have a great result. So now what we're going to do is we're going to give you a quick demo on our Shape Cut Supreme ruler. And we're going to cut this beautiful Tim Holtz fabric. And we're just going to cut strips for you today. So fabric comes 44, 45 wide, folded in half once, it's 22. And we're going to take that and fold it one more time. So it's about 11 1/4. And we'll put the fabric anywhere on the mat. It doesn't need to be on a line. The ruler goes over the top. Our Shape Cut ruler, Tessa's right-handed. So it's made for righties or lefties. It just depends on which way you turn the ruler. So she's going to cut right to left. Always make sure that you can go ahead and start cutting. The bottom fold line is on the bottom 0 horizontal marking. And she's just going to cut at every bubble and get all these perfect 2.5 inch strips. To introduce your blade into the teardrop opening, you might want to just tilt it a little bit. And then that'll introduce it into the slot and simply cut out. And that'll give you a perfect 2.5 inch strip. We'll take away our little bit of scrap here. But when you look at this, every single strip is perfect, 2.5 inches. Now, of course, you could turn your ruler and finish by cutting squares, triangles, diamonds, bies. There's lots of other things you can do with that ruler. But for today, with the Venice design, all we really need are 2.5 inch strips, and then those will be subcut. And I'll show you that as we move along. So now that our fabrics are cut into 2.5 inch strips, we have our design for the Venice in front of us. And let us get into focus here. And this is the printed batting. And you can see there's numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are going to, here, I'll lift this up so that it's a little bit easier for you to see the numbers on here in focus, okay? Mm-hmm. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to attach our backing fabric. And we chose this one for the backing. You can use our quilt basting spray for that. And you're always going to want to spray the backing and then smooth out the fabric. Great news, to be even more environmentally friendly, we have a water-based quilt basting spray coming out this summer. So you're going to see that on the market as well. Now that we have our backing attached, we are ready to begin the fun part. So we take our 2.5-inch strips and we're going to subcut those. And we tell you exactly how to subcut. The first one happens to be a 2.5-inch square. And what you're going to do with that is put it in position number 1, like this. So my backing is attached, number 1 is down, piece number 2 is going to go against piece number 1, right sides together and raw edges even, and we're going to stitch in 1/4 inch seam allowance. So we are not stitching on the lines are for placement. So the blue lines are just for placement, and you still stitch in 1/4 inch from that edge, and when you flip it over, it's going to land right on the next blue placement line. Now we've got that done here. So the interesting thing about the quilt as you go process is as you sew on the front, you're also finishing it on the back. So that stitch line on the front is also on the back, and that's what's doing our quilting. We're going to take this, flip it open. It should land right on the next blue line, and it does. And now we want to finger press that. Because we starched these, you can finger press like this, or you can use our new magic seam wand. And when we were on your show last, we had one prototype that we were all sharing in the office. Well, good news, we now have 10,000 of them.
Oh, good.
This can be used just like this, so dry, or what you can do to press your seam allowance open is to heat this with a hot iron. So just press this against a hot iron. The heat will retain the heat. The heat will retain the heat. The wood will retain the heat, and that makes pressing easier. And now we're going to continue on and put piece number 3, which is right here, right sides together, raw edges even, lining up on the blue line, sew in 1/4 inch and flip over. I won't show you every step, but I want to show you just a couple more so that you can see this coming together. And then we are going to flip that open, lands right on the blue line. We're going to press that. And the reason you don't want to press with an iron right now is we don't want you to accidentally touch the batting because that might shrink. So that's why we're finger pressing. Once everything is pieced on the top, then we can go ahead and press with an iron. Piece 4 goes here, and so on and so forth. So we'll continue on until
Jill,
we have,
sorry. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
That came in. We have Patty is asking, do you pre-wash the fabrics? Do you recommend, or can we just, I know with personally, I don't pre-wash anything, I just sew. Are you guys pre-washing any of that fabric before you make your projects?
If you're doing something that's highly washable, like placemats and table runners, here's what I would do. I would pre-wash it, and then I would starch it after you wash it to get it stiffened up again and ready to go. If it's something like the quilts behind me or even the lunch totes, we don't do that. We pretty much leave it as is.
Okay,
the nice thing about our Starch Savvy is it kind of gets that sheen right back on there, so it makes it look really pretty. So as we are sewing our braid, these were all the 2.5-inch strips that we're sewing. You're going to notice that some of these points are sticking out here. So to deal with that, you can actually fold this over and you can see your blue line. I'll fold it to exaggerate that a little bit. You can see that blue line. So what you can do is actually fold this over like this and take a blue marker, and you can actually mark right on the fabric so that you know to trim off this particular triangle right here. You can also take a ruler, flip all these up, and go ahead and trim them off. We did that on this side. You'll notice all those points are all trimmed off. These we left on just to kind of show you that that occurs with this braided design. So next we're going to sew piece 13 and 14. So that's this beautiful teal, right sides together, and that'll flip open like this. And then this one will flip open like that. So now that we kind of have an idea of how the process goes, we're going to speed up a little bit. So let's get this into focus for a minute.
Jill,
There
can I
we go.
interrupt again?
You
Sorry.
can.
I can't?
You can.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh. Well, I am, right?
Yeah.
We just have some questions. I just want to make sure that we're answering them as you go. So Kathy is asking, you don't use batting as a question mark. So the answer is no, you don't use batting as you're stitching because your batting is the guide that you're stitching onto, correct?
Yes. So we put our backing, we secured it to our batting. So that's a great question. Maybe I didn't even say that, but the pattern is printed right on the batting. So your batting is already in the middle.
Right. And then Mary is asking, do you reverse at the beginning and end of a seam? So do you recommend, I'm assuming she means back stitch at the beginning and end of every seam when you are sewing onto your foundation?
It's up to you.
Okay.
You know, it depends on how much time you have, but on something like this, I would, just because this is going to get a lot of wear and tear.
Mm-hmm.
But one good thing to know, you're always covering up that seam allowance with your next stitching line. So you don't have to, but I think it's always best to.
Okay, and then Sean is asking, how do you trim the points without cutting the backing? So as you're sewing, are you just leaving that excess fabric in?
Yeah, we're gonna show you another method. Let
Okay.
me do
Am I
that.
jumping ahead? I'm sorry.
No, it's not a problem. We're gonna actually, are we gonna demo it? We're gonna demo it for you. How about that?
Okay.
There, now there's our points from the other side.
Oh,
This is Doris and she's really fast.
thank you, Doris. Jill, I just want to let you know we have about 200 people watching.
Well, okay, now I'm getting nervous.
Don't be nervous. I think it's wonderful. We're glad that we have so many guests this week.
Okay, does that help with the points?
Yes.
Okay, so now I'm glad we did that because now it's much easier to see piece 13 and 14 are just your strips.
Right.
It's just a straight strip to sew. Okay, now in our demo, I think we have that strip so I can just put it back up there one more time. Just might as well just show it one more time and I'll take the smaller one. So piece 13 is actually a narrower one, right sides together. And we're going to sew in that 1/4 inch, and when we flip it open, it'll look like this. And 14 will look like this when we flip it open. Can that not be more spectacular with that teal? Or I hope it's turquoisey. It's coming out on your monitors as gorgeous as it is here.
It is.
And I'll just take one more second to show you that 15 and 16 are 2.5 inch strips.
Mm-hmm.
And then 17 and 17, or 17 is A and B. This is what forms the pocket, and we're going to show you how easy this is.
Yes, I'm very interested in seeing this.
Okay, we'll put these here. Look at this. Look at how gorgeous this fabric is right here.
Wow, very nice.
All right. So piece 17A actually covers this whole area right here.
Mm-hmm.
17B is a rectangle that we cut and we fold it in half like this.
Mm-hmm.
And that rectangle, the fold of that rectangle forms the top of the pocket. So that goes right sides up on 17A. And this unit, if you will, this unit acts like one piece.
Yes.
So that goes here. And when we sew it, and I bring it open like this, we formed that finished pocket right here.
Wow.
This is great. If that was Doris, that's her idea. She's the one who just cut. It's a real team effort here, let me tell you. She eats outside a lot in the summer and she loves having a pocket for cutlery or a beautiful napkin, or, you know, maybe you just have a little one and you're trying to keep utensils all organized.
Yes, I love that.
When we have the entire top piece, I think there's one more sample. Here we go. Now we've got it done. I just want to show you what this looks like. This is still kind of flapping open here. That's okay, because we're gonna attach that when we attach the binding.
Mm-hmm.
So then we're gonna cut our binding, and we use 2.5 inch strips, and then we used our Quilt Binding Express.
Ooh,
and what this little pressing tool is, this is really nifty. it's a easy way to make binding. Let me move this so it's easier to see without burning your fingers.
Yes.
So there's a slot on this end for 2¼ inch, 2½ inch, and for 2-inch binding strips. And all you're really doing is taking your strip. Yes, I'm a lefty and this is a righty. And you're putting your binding strip through here like this. I'll kind of open this up, feeding it through here. And then as I pull it like this, you're pressing right on here. These little floral areas in here are guides so that you make sure you have it straight. So you can see as I pull it, it's automatically folding the fabric here. And then you would just simply take your iron and press. We put the 2½ inch slot in the middle because it's the most common size, 2¼ up here and 2-inch down there. So when we make our binding, it's super easy. And then of course, we just did a traditional binding like this. We sew on the front and turned it over and hand stitched on the back. You could do it just the opposite way too. It's really up to you, however you like to finish it off. But isn't that gorgeous? It's so pretty. Let's
Jill,
show you.
can you flip that over? I'd just like to see the back of it.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, let's do the real one here.
Oh, okay.
This is the completed one. And let's just take a minute to look at the detail in the pocket and see how the binding now encloses that other side of the pocket in. And let me flip over and look at the back. So we'll get it into focus and we'll bring it a little bit more into the light. You can see all the stitching on the back. So as we were stitching through the top, we were actually quilting it and going through the back, which is why it's all done in one step. So our batting is in the middle and our project is done.
That's fantastic.
I think it looks just as good on this side too.
Oh, it does. You can use either side.
You have a solution, right?
Right.
And of course, nothing can be done with placemats that shouldn't be copied with a table runner. So this is the matching table runner that goes with it. Our kits contain 6 placemats and then of course the 1 table runner. So let's just kind of move this along here so you can see how gorgeous this is. We love that braid design. And I think his fabrics were made for it. I mean,
I agree.
It just looks fantastic. Now let's turn this over. Look at the back.
Oh yeah, you can see the stitching really nicely on that.
Yeah, you can see the stitching lines and this gorgeous fabric is just so pretty. We love it.
So it's like a one-step method, right? You're just
a one-step method, right?
Quilting at the same time. Love that.
That's why we call it quilt as you go, because you're quilting it. It's quilt as you sew, or quilt as you go, or sew by number. So are we ready to move to another project?
Yes, I just want to let everyone know that everything that Jill just showed us is made with Tim Holt's abandoned fabric line.
Right.
And Jill, where, if any of our viewers would like to go and purchase that kit, they can only purchase those at a local quilt shop. Is that correct?
Yes, or you can, local quilt shop is really our preferred, and the Venice has been on the market for a couple of years. Okay. So it's out there. So check your local quilt shop. Otherwise you can check with June Tailor, or even give us a call on our 800 number and we'll help you find it.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, great. Thank you.
So on to the lunch boxes, if everyone's ready for that. Another brand new product for us. Again, you guys get to see it here. Let's look at what comes, first of all, in your lunchbox kits. So what you will get in the kit is, this is a little different type of batting. This is insulated batting. You can kind of see that shine to it. And what that shine is it keeps things, the insulated batting keeps things either cold or warm. It'll work either way. So you actually get, it looks like this little rectangular kind of crazy looking thing. You get 2 of these. One is for the front and one is for the back. You can kind of hear it crinkling. And you also get this handle strapping. And this is what we cover with our fabric, our coordinating fabric, to make the sturdy handles. And then each kit gets a zippity-doo done pre-sewn zipper. And this is an actual zipper. Let's see if we can get a better shot of this. How about we pick a different color that might be more friendly to the camera? Does the red help us any? There, this is better. The zipper is actually pre-sewn into a casing. So when I take and open up this casing, our project is nested right in here, and then we just straight stitch it and our zipper's in. So if you're afraid of a zipper, don't be, because we've already done the hard work for you. You don't need a zipper foot. You just need to be able to straight stitch. So each of these lunch bag kits, this one happens to be with the black zipper. There's always a color code down here to tell you what kind of zipper is in the kit, but you can also see the zipper in through the plastic bag, so you know what color you're getting. And we have the black and the red, and then we also have the camel color. And we have this light gray, which is really pretty. Navy blue, really popular.
Right.
Hard to see that it's navy. And then black and white. So
Jill,
those like this.
Jill, a quick question for you on all these zippers. I think these zippers are genius. What lengths do they come in? Do they come in a variety of lengths, and are they packaged individually, or are they only sold with the kits?
All good questions. They are packaged and sold as an 18-inch length. If you get it in a kit, it's the exact size you're going to need for the kit. It's actually a little bit longer. And we are also going to be shortly selling them zippers by the roll. So you could a quilt shop can buy the whole roll and simply cut off as much as they're going to need for the customer and sell it with a pull.
Oh, that's nice. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
we're trying to, get it to our customers every way that they're going to use it. One last thing is our lunchbox kits also contain this plastic base, and that is nice to just, keep the base nice and flat. You can leave it as is so that it's washable, or you can cover it with fabric. We love to cover it with fabric because I think we give it a nice finished look. Everything comes with written instructions for you. But I also want you to know that we have videos as well. And we walk through kind of a step-by-step. So it's very easy to follow along. And we're going to do that for you today. So we used Tulip Pink's Curiouser and Curiouser line for our step outs. And this is a different process than we've ever shown you before. So this is our insulated batting, and we trimmed around it and gave ourselves an extra inch all the way around the edge. And then we layered this with our backing fabric, or this will be the lining of our lunchbox. And then this will be the outer fabric of our lunchbox. So let's go through this one more time. Fabrics are right sides together. So the outside of the lunchbox, the lining of the lunchbox, and then our batting on top. Now, if you look at this batting, there's dotted line and there's solid line. And we give you a cheat note down here, and it says sew on the dashed line and cut on the solid line. But I'm going to show you or tell you a real easy way to remember that. Anytime you see a dashed line, remember it's like sewing. It's like your needle going in and out. So we're always going to sew on dashed lines. If you want to teach a child to sew, this is the really super easy project to do and so much fun. So we have our 3 layers together, our batting, and again, our right sides together fabric. And we are going to sew right through all layers. You can pin first if you want. We're going to sew in that dotted line all the way around here. And you'll notice it's on all sides except this top. The top part stays open, and it says top zipper edge. So that stays open and there's no dotted line. Now let's show you, we've got our sewing done. So that's what this looks like. So if I turn it over, you can see this is all sewn here, but this edge is still open. Okay, there's our layers of fabric. All right. The next thing that we are going to do is we are going to trim on the solid line all the way around, even up here. So everything is trimmed, and we've got that done for you right here. And this is what that looks like. Everything's trimmed. Now, any place you see a corner, we'd like you to just snip in here so that when we turn right sides out, it turns out a little bit easier. And you can also see that we have trimmed these notches out on the corners as well. That's just going to make the bag turn out nicer. So anywhere you see that, just go ahead and make a little notch like that with your scissors. And now what we're going to do is turn right sides out. So I will start that process just to kind of show you what it looks like. And then we've got one done for you. But you can see it's just that simple, turning right sides out. And when you get to these little areas like this, if you have some kind of a, you know, a wood stick turner, you can use that to get those corners nice and open. Here's one that we have completely done, so you don't have to watch me struggle with that. So this is what it looks like when we turn right sides out. So now my lining is here, my outside is here. This part is still open because this is where the zipper is going to go, okay? So we have a decision to make. We can either leave this as is, or we can do some quilting. If you like a lot of quilting, now would be the time to do that and add that decorative stitching. We're going to add handles to this, and it's plenty to keep this intact. So we don't do any extra quilting, but you can if you want. So we've got our 2 of these made, one for the front, one for the back, and then we are going to set this aside for a minute, and we are going to work on our straps. So to make the straps, we have you start out cutting a rectangle of fabric. And what we're going to do is have you press it by pressing the ends under. So you've got a finished edge here. And then we have you press it down the center like this. So you create a center line right here, then fold this side in and fold this side in. And then what you're going to do is nest your strapping material that comes with it. You're going to nest that right in here. Now note, we have not nested it under our seam allowance here where we pressed under. And we want that to kind of be a little less bulky because this is going to get sewn into the seam allowance of the bottom of our lunch bag. So we're going to take this strip and we're going to essentially cover that braiding with our fabric. And we're going to sew on either side on the long edges to secure it. And we've got that done here. So now you've got your strap completely sewn, and I'll see if we can get a better shot of that on both sides. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your front and your back. We'll just use this one for now. You're going to measure 6 inches in from either side, and you're going to put your strap about 6 inches in, bring it up and around like that, and 6 inches from the other side. So it's going to be about like this, okay? And we're going to have you stitch on both sides up to here, and then make an X to reinforce it. And we're going to do that on both sides, so both the right and the left side of our tote. And we've got that done here. So now you can see I've got my handle on one side. I'll keep that for 1 second. And it's all sewn in. I've got my X, my reinforcement X done right here. Next step is we are going to take our zippity-doo done zipper. In this case, we had a white one. And what we're going to do is we're going to open up this casing, and we're going to nest our lunchbox right inside the zippity-doo done casing like this. I'm going to hold this handle back, and we're going to simply straight stitch this right down. Okay, so right along here, I'm going to hold that handle back for 1 second for me. Thanks. We're going to straight stitch right down here like this. And once that is done, it looks like this. Isn't it amazing? Wow. Magically fast we sewed that. So you can see my stitching line is right here. And now I'm going to open up this side of the casing, and I am going to put this side in. So push my handle down. This is the only time that you kind of have to be pretty careful to make sure that you line this up. You don't want these ends to be crooked. So just, you can kind of eyeball that to make sure this is even with this. Nest this in here like this and sew in a straight stitch all the way down. Do we have that done? That step is done, right? Okay.
I love that zipper, Jill.
I know. Actually, I'll show you something at this point. If you want to embellish the Zippity's casing, this gives you a lot of opportunity to do it. Now would be the time to do it. We added this complementary fabric to the casing because we just thought it brought that turquoise out, and it was so pretty. This is just a strip of fabric we cut 1.25 inches, folded the ends under, pressed it, and you would just stitch that right on top of the zipper. But you may like to do something else. So we have a couple of other ideas for you as well. So you can sew ribbon along the edge if you want to cover up a little bit more of that casing, or use a decorative machine stitch. And that's really pretty too. I mean, think about this. If you were making a lunchbox for, you know, a grandchild or somebody, you could actually put their name right in here, right on top of the zipper. And that would be so personalized. So that's really kind of a fun way to treat it. So now our two sections are connected. And now we are going to go right sides together like this. And we're going to sew the bottom of our tote. And that looks like this. And we're going to sew that along here in a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Remember, I had mentioned that we didn't bring that cording or the webbing all the way to the bottom. So that we don't have that thickness here. The webbing doesn't start till about right here. So there's plenty of room to sew that seam allowance without getting it really bulky in your machine.
Very smart.
And now we try to think of everything. All right.
Right.
Now we have that seam sewn. And now what we're going to do is we are basically going to open that seam allowance. This is our bottom seam that we just sewed. Open that seam allowance. And where the center of that is, we're going to center that right over the top of our zipper like this. So let me try to hold that up for you to see it. The seam allowance from the bottom goes right against the zipper, and we sew the sides shut. And that we also use a 1/2 inch seam allowance for. We tell you that in the instructions, and obviously it'll be in the video as well. And then the last step is just to sew these 4 gussets. But the first thing you have to do is make sure you open the zipper, because we have to turn right sides out when we're done. So here is my one side seam sewn, and the gusset is as simple as this. This is just so fun. Take this, open it up, and we're going to sew the other way. So now my 1/2 inch seam allowance, let me try to get a better view for you. Let's try this way, is going to go right against the side of my bag like that. And we're going to sew that in a 1/2 inch seam allowance. That's what creates the gusset. And we do the same on the other side. So this is what it looks like. You're just going to take it, pull it like this, and sew it in the other direction. And that'll create your gusset in all 4 sides. And then you're going to turn right sides out.
Nicely done.
Here it is. Right sides are turned out. Here is our beautiful zippity, perfectly sewn in. Everything just comes out perfect using this method. And then our little piece of fabric on top, I thought really did a nice job of highlighting it.
It sure does. I love it.
All right.
Go ahead.
Let's the Tim Holtz. Let's show you one other one that we've done, which we
So Jill, I just want to let you know that you guys are getting a lot of props. Where love the demos, best demos I've seen. I love how your samples are prepared to make the most of our time. Beautiful, every seam is finished. So we have a lot of people that are really enjoying your presentation. So thank you for the time that you guys have taken, because obviously everyone's loving it. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting a lot of thumbs ups and hearts right now as well.
Oh, I love getting the hearts. That's fun.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting, you know, we wanted those inside seams to be finished, because you're going to put food in here or whatever. You don't want those to be open seams. And so this method of sew on the line is just, it's so helpful for so many projects. So I'm glad you appreciate it. By the way, I will tell you one more thing. Even those are lunch totes for hot or cold. I use mine for travel, because it fits a hairdryer, it fits a flat iron, and you know, all the stuff that's needed to put this on every day, it all fits in there with room to boot. Yeah. So we made one for a little girl, and she collects rocks in hers. So, you know, it just really depends on what needs you have for carrying stuff around. This is absolutely perfect. Or, you know, you can take it to the beach and it can keep your waters cold or something like that too. So really it's all purpose. We just did a couple other samples to kind of show you more of what these look like. This is the Tim Holtz. This one we don't have anything filled with it, but here's that gorgeous fabric again.
Yes,
and we used a tan zipper here
Uh-huh.
And then we embellished it with some of the fabric, which I just love adding the fabric onto that zippity. It really kind of
Yeah.
jazzes it up a little bit. So that's that. And oh yes, I wanted to show you that. Thank you for reminding me here. Yeah, I wanted to show you one other thing. When we finish it off, we just use this to finish it off. Doesn't that look great?
Yes.
And then
That's
that
great.
sits over. That also helps hold those seam allowances open, which is really nice too.
Right.
Really, really fast. Here's just a nice version for a little kid, you know, with the little panda
Oh,
bears on it.
yeah.
Great for kids. It's a one thing you can make for boys because you can get some dinosaur fabric or something like this, you know,
Right.
and make them a little race car lunchbox. And then also, maybe we can go back to our overhead shot for a second. That would be great. And I just wanted to show you, these are our little mug mats. I don't know if you've ever seen these before. This is our 2.5-inch strip mug mat kit. And what you get in this is 3 different mug mats that you can make, all using 2.5-inch strips. And we all have fabric stashes that can be cut into 2.5-inch strips. So this is one design right here. And this is what it looks like when you sew it together. I won't go through the process. It's the same quilt as you go as we've been doing before. This is another design. This is kind of that same angle design that we used the braid for the Venice placemat and table runner. And here that is finished. And then this one's really easy. So if you're teaching somebody how to sew, this is a super easy one to make as well. And it finishes off beautifully. The great thing about these mug mats is if you are ever looking for a gift for someone, really fun thing to do after you make these is roll them like this and just find a mug. We used a really kind of an inexpensive mug. Let's see, I'll hold it this way so it's a little easier. Oh, we're going to go this way. Really cute little mug like this. Put your mug mat in there. We added straws, drink mixes, recipes, candy, leftover Easter candy, if anybody has that. You could put a little note card in here. And then we just cover this with cellophane, clear cellophane, and tie a bow. And it makes the cutest gift. And perfect this time of year. If your kids are back in school and they need a teacher gift idea, this is a great one.
That
you get
is
the mug, you get the mug mat, you get some treats, everybody's happy. So we have lots of different mug mats at June Tailor. Also great for kids to learn how to sew.
Exactly.
And then we
quick
talked.
Question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I know I'm interrupting. You're doing a great job. One of our guests asked if they buy the kit, and they make it, whether it be your mug mat or the lunchbox or any of the other kits, can you just buy the interfacing already printed alone, or does it only come in a kit? Or as a kit?
Well, like, are you talking about just the mug mats now?
No, it was just a general question.
Okay, we always sell it without the fabric. So it's just the printed material. In the lunchbox, though, the zipper comes with it.
Okay, all right.
And the other things that come with it. Let me just make it really clear. The Venice table runner and the placemat that we started out with, you get the printed batting. That's all you get. You add your own fabric.
Right.
And then we moved on to the lunchbox, and you get the insulated batting with that, the plastic base, the zipper color that you want, and you get the strapping material. You put your own fabric with it.
Right.
And then we went from there to the mug mats, and those come with 3 pieces of printed batting. So just like that. And you add your own fabrics.
Right.
Is that a good answer to that question?
That has clarified the question. I just didn't know. I'm not really sure 100%. I mean, what you just answered, I think, should answer the question.
Okay.
I'm not sure if the guest was asking whether or not this could be purchased like on a roll or anything like that.
Oh, on a roll. We have not done that yet, but reach out to us, and I don't know if you're going to make 1,000 of them or whatever, we'll see what we can do. I can see why that might be interesting to some people, like if you're doing something for a craft fair or something and you don't need, you just need the printed batting. I could see how that might be really helpful. So yeah, we're a small company, and we try to do really innovative things and help our customers. So just keep the ideas coming, and we'll do the best we can to get them to you in the format that you like it.
Wow, that's a great answer. Love that.
All right, now to the echinacea bag that everybody here wants to take this home. We showed you this one in the beginning, this fabric to die for. We left the zippity-doo done zipper. We just left it as is on this one because we thought it just really looked nice with the bag. But are you ready for this? Check this one out. We love this one too. Look at this fabric. This is not unbelievable. And this one we did the gray zipper with, but look at the lining. Look at this lining. It's just incredible that comes with it.
Very nice.
Now,
what I love the gray zipper. That's
I know
very nice with
we
it.
did too. So I'm going to have a little helper with me. I want to, oh, wait, we got a better camera angle here. So again, you could leave that zippity as is, or what you could do, since we just absolutely loved this fabric, we just cut a strip of it and you could put that, let me zipper this up so it's a little bit easier for you to see. And we would put that right on here and just stitch it right on there if you want to add just a little bit of extra geometry to this bag. And this was also the fabric we used for the lining.
Very pretty.
Now, these bags are sew on the line, like the lunchbox. And we always put a pocket in because, you know, you can always, you know, some people use it for diaper bags or whatever. And we just think everybody likes another pocket. So we weren't going to go through the steps with you on that just because, you know, we've shown you a lot before, but let's just keep moving on to one other last thing to show you. And that
definitely want to see this.
The beautiful Anna Maria fabric. This is our quilt as you go. Now we're back to the sew by number kind of design. What I wanted to show you is, this is kind of crazy. This is what the packaging looks like for this product. And you can really kind of see you've got a square on point, and then you've got all these triangles, and it keeps, you know, going out to the edges and to use these strips. Now, I've got some helpers here that are going to show you what a quilt looks like made out of this design. So this is the quilt that we're talking about. It's called Square in a Square, our white square on point, triangle, triangle, and this one, and then add these four, and you keep going around the outside. Now look at how different that looks when we step away and we look at this quilt. Exactly the same thing.
Wow,
but it looks
really amazing.
So completely different. Now, fabric placement is, you know, how you select the fabrics, and you know, everybody loved this part right here, but we also love this. So we were trying to figure out, what are you going to center in here? And her fabrics just give you that opportunity to get so many different looks. It's just incredible. So, you know, just so you kind of understand, this is what the batting looks like. It comes in one big piece like this. It's about 40 by 60, 40 by 50. And so that center square on point is actually quite large. It's probably like a 10-inch by 10-inch square. And then you put the backing on like we do with our basting spray. So our backing is already on, our batting is in the middle. And then we basically just sew by number until we have it done, and then we bind it. So it's just really incredible. And this quilt hanging on our wall with our wooden thread rack next to it, it made us think spring here in Wisconsin. I'll tell you that. Really appreciated it.
It's really beautiful. Now, how many seams did you say in the beginning? 22 seams in that quilt?
22. Yeah. So, you know, if you have a quick, you know, shower gift to make, we have 3 quilt designs that are simple like this. This one is 22 seams. We have another one that's 11, and we have another one that's 12. So if you ever want a quick baby gift, it's the perfect size. Or if you know someone that wants a lap quilt, these are perfectly sized and you can make them in no time. And you could, you know, add our Quilt As You Go baby bibs to it, or so many of our other easy projects, and then put it all in one of those beautiful echinacea bags and give it as a gift. I mean, we can't really ever have enough tote bags, can we?
No, I don't think we can. I totally agree with you on that. So that's really beautiful. You ladies did a beautiful job on that. So thank you for sharing all of this with us.
Well, I'll tell you, in this room, there are 4 of us right now. So we loved doing this show for you, and we can't wait to do it again. We love the day the box shows up with all the FreeSpirit fabrics, and then the fun part comes in, what are we going to do with it? So
Right. Well, thank you. I mean, we love FreeSpirit fabrics. Thank you for loving FreeSpirit fabrics. So can you tell me, because I heard you say Doris and Tessa were in the room with you, who is the 4th mystery guest?
the 4th mystery guest, it's her 2nd day of work here, and her name is Joni, and she sewed the quilt behind us.
Oh, Joni.
And she is the one who made the great point to me about the UFOs. And I thought that is really, it's how everybody's closet is. You love making the quilt top, but then it's like, oh, I got to layer it. I got to do this.
Right,
do this.
exactly.
If you can sew it in one step, it's great. And she actually selected that fabric placement. So I think she did a great job.
Yes, very nice addition to your team. So thank you, ladies. Thank you, Jill. We appreciate everything that you've done, and we can see your enthusiasm for the fabrics in all of your projects. So I would just like to hear, I'm going to just take Jill, let me see. Hold on, everybody. I'm going to remove the spotlight so that it's Jill or me speaking. Let me see. Hold on. I'm not the swiftest here. Jill, you're still on. Let me see. Okay.
Technology. It's wonderful.
Technology, but I don't know that it might just be me now. So I'd like it to bounce back and forth to us depending on who's actually talking is what I'd like to do. So let me see. Well, anyways, Jill, I would like to, it looks like it is bouncing back and forth depending on who's talking. So thank you again for everything that you've done. I would just like to thank all of our viewers for coming. And I would also like to remind everybody the fabrics that they saw here today. They saw in the beginning, well, behind me is the Tim Holtz fabrics, and Jill and her team showed us projects made with Tim Holtz abandoned fabrics. Those were in the table runner and placemats, and they were beautifully done. The lunchbox was made with Tula Pink fabrics. Those are called Curiouser and Curiouser, and those fabrics are going to be delivering to quilt shops very soon as well. Beautiful collection. Love those teacups. So many variations of what you could do with that lunch bag. I love it. I have a niece who would be very thrilled with that little teacup bag as is. I know that. And then the last is the Anna Maria Horner Bright Eyes fabrics, and those too will be shipping to stores in the month of May. So great, you know, like I just said, you know, we're so excited that you guys get excited when you get the fabrics and the creativity starts flowing. And the creativity starts for us too with your products as well, because, you know, when you can wrap it all up in one, you know, sitting and it doesn't become a UFO, that's even better for everybody. So we love that as makers. So I would just like to say that June Tailor and Jill and her team, they're giving away, they have a bunch of giveaways for us. Jill, do you have any of those products to show, or should I just mention what they are?
We are giving one of the quilt as you go. This is the big quilt that's behind us, the square and a square quilt. We have one of those. We also have 6 of these. These are the lunchbox kits, and we are giving you 6, one in every zipper color. So black, white, red, navy, camel, and gray. And you'd be surprised, you're going to find gorgeous fabrics to go with every one of those colors. And then we're also giving the 2 kits to make the placemats and the table runners. So 6 placemats come in one kit, and then the 1 table runner. Thanks, Tessa.
Yes, beautiful. So those are very generous gifts. Thank you so much for, you know, contributing those to our winners for this week. And we will team it with some FreeSpirit fabrics. We will do our best to maybe mirror what you've shown here, but if we can't, you know, we have so many FreeSpirit fabrics that, you know, they're all inspirational, right? So there will be a total of 8 lucky winners. Now, in order to win, we have a question for you. What type of future product would you like to see June Tailor sew as you go? So if you have any suggestions or ideas for products that you would like to see June Tailor come out with in the future. They would love to know what it is that inspires you to sew. What would you like to see in the future that will continue to keep you making? Jill, do you want to add any more to that, what I just said, or is that
Well,
clear?
I will tell you what's on the drawing board.
Oh,
That's going to be ready very soon. Is we have a really neat diaper bag that we are doing, and it's going to have a changing pad in it. It's going to have clear pocket, clear zipper pocket for pacifiers, a little wet bag area. It's really going to be really cool. And we now understand by talking to all these young moms what's important in a diaper bag and how people use it for their purses. It's the same time, you know, it's like a purse diaper bag, and it has to be for their husband as well. So it's not just for the mom, it's for the dad. Right. So we really got some fun input into what goes into a diaper bag. So you're going to see that coming out. We also have a sewing machine cover and caddy that is available very soon, like maybe next week, coming up in a week or two. Wow. And everybody has a different size sewing machine. So our Quilt As You Go will have 3 different sizes to pick from. So you measure your machine and you say, I think I need the medium or I need the small, and you make the sewing machine cover. And then there's a matching caddy that your sewing machine sits on top of to kind of help avoid the vibration and the noise. And then the caddy actually flips down and holds all your tools, your scissors and your seam ripper and all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. And then we also have these really cool project bags on deck. Zipper project bags, some that are quilted, some that have that see-through vinyl, sewable vinyl in, so you can kind of see it. So that's what's on the drawing board, and then we got a list after that. But we'd much prefer to make according to what you'd like to see. So let us know, and we'll get designing.
Yes, well, thank you very much. That's like a sneak peek into the future. So we appreciate that very much. And again, thank you so much. You ladies did a fantastic job today showcasing the June Tailor products as well as the FreeSpirit fabrics. And we appreciate that very much. And we will look forward to future Inspired By series with you, hopefully, Inspired by FreeSpirit fabrics. And please let us know which FreeSpirit fabrics you all enjoy seeing. It doesn't have to just be today's fabrics. It could be any of our designers. Who do you like? Who are you most familiar with? You know, who are you always looking for? Because we'd like to know that as well. So Jill, thank you so much. We're going to say goodbye for this week. Thank you again to you and your team. And thank you to all of our fellow sewing enthusiasts who joined us this week. We appreciate you joining in with us. And we look forward to having you all join us. And we will see you again in a couple of weeks. So have a great day. And if you have any questions about today, this will be on all of the social media platforms at FreeSpirit Fabrics. And it will also be on June Tailor's social media platforms. And if you have any questions, go to freespiritfabrics.com or go to junetailor.com. And we will look forward to seeing you all in the near future. Thank you so much, everybody. Bye, Jill.
Bye.